afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Thanks for joining us on our R Factor. And while I thank you for joining today, let's take one more minute for more friends to join us over here. Meanwhile, for friends who are already here, perhaps you can time and say hi to me on the chat. If you're on your laptop on the bottom, and you can find this chat function. Remember, when you say anything, remember to click on to all panelists and all attendees. That's how I can see you typing in the chat. Perhaps you can say hi in the chat to everybody over here. Say hi, say your name, say who you are, or like, what did you have for lunch? Yeah. Hi, Nicholas. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining over here. And today, while waiting for more friends to join us in, let's take a look at everybody. So here, Nicholas is here. Who else? Come and say hi to me. And by the way, I am Tammy Chu, your host for today for the R Factor. Today is the fifth episode for the R Factor already. So this is a series of interactive webinars where it touches the topic about the current job market and more. And we hope to inspire you to bring more positive changes to your life. And for friends who are looking to make adjustments to your career or your pocket, means your money, right? And I heard that my main speaker are going to be sharing with me and teaching me how to plan my financials to reach my goals, and of course sharing her own story. So while friends are coming in, remember, if you want to say anything in the chat, remember to click on all panelists and attendees. That is how I can see you, and then we can respond to you over here. And meanwhile, over here, today's topic is, are you ready to retire in your job? Maybe I can ask a quick question around for friends who are here. Are you currently working? Are you self-employed? Are you a freelancer? Or how long have you been in a job? Are you looking for an alternative, or you're just here to listen? Let me know in the chat. And once again, remember to click on the chat and type on all panelists and attendees so I can see everybody here. So before I actually start talking about inviting my main speaker over here today, I'd like to share with you this article that I read some time ago. It's from Seedly. The article says why most Singaporeans won't be able to retire early. Because in my mind, a lot of us, while we are growing up, or like, as an adult, adulting, people will be like, oh, I need to sort out my finances. I want to retire by a certain age. Some people say retire by 30. Obviously, I can't already. 30 is over. And then people will be like, okay, maybe I'll retire by 50 or 65, or I retire whatever age the government tells me I can withdraw my CPF. So tell me, when do you plan to retire? I'd love to hear your responses, and remember to click on all panelists and attendees. So while this article, the Seedly article, it says why most Singaporeans won't be able to retire early, I realize all these reasons, a lot of them apply to me. So do you know whether you can retire early? And to answer that question, I think we first need to really figure out like how much money we need before we can retire, because you need to calculate how much money you can to stop working, so you have your retirement funding. So to calculate that, I know it seems a little complicated, a little tedious to do this calculation, right? So today I have invited my main speaker to share with me, share with all of you, how to actually calculate your retirement funding. And perhaps it's time to introduce my speaker. Over here, I will be inviting Ma Xiaoqing over here. Ma Xiu Heng. Yes, she is actually one of the only 3 advanced planners in Unicorn. She used to be in a global MNC as a regional sales manager, and she gave up a comfortable 6-digit income. Oh, 6 digits sounds so comfortable. But why did she do that? Because she wants to pursue a lifetime of fulfillment, joy, and prosperity. And she's dedicated to doing like her excellence. She wants to do her best, and therefore she became a business leader just after 1 year. And her belief is life is all about myself for others to propel others. So her desire for continuous growth get a lot of traction. A lot of clients really believe in her, and I think she's a really wonderful person. I mean, not in this part that you see, me interacting with her, realize that she really is a person who really loves to share and wants the best out of you. Like the other day, I was feeling really tired. She just yesterday, and then she like automatically kind of gave me a head massage and shoulder massage. This is the kind of nice person she is, and she's here to share with us today how to calculate our retirement funding. So although I can't hear your applause, but round of applause for Xiaoqing in the house. Thanks, Xiaoqing, for joining us. Hi,
Thank
Xiaoqing.
you, Tam. Hi, we have the same background. So happy
Yes,
to
we
see
do.
you online today. Are you feeling better from the headache
Yes,
yesterday?
thank you so much for your head massage and shoulder massage yesterday. I'm so touched. Like, like everybody, I really want to say she's such an awesome person. It's like this. Everybody in Unicorn has been like so nice to me. Therefore, I really want to continue doing this sharing session with Unicorn and all the audience over here. But today, let's get on to the main topic. Okay, how to calculate my retirement funding?
Yes, before we start, okay, let me share my screen. Before we start, maybe everyone can start to think through in a week, how many hours do you dedicate that into your work? Out of your weekly 7 days, maybe you can get Tammy to share hers.
My working hours are very strange. My working hours can be in the middle of the night, can be in the morning, and also on. So, Xiaoqing,
Wow. Or maybe you share with us what is the longest day that you ever had that you have to set aside for work.
my longest day will be something around like I have shoots that go on to 16 hours. Yeah,
Wow.
crazy.
Wow. Crazy, crazy. Okay, let's take a look at what our average Singaporean, how many hours they work. So this is not based on my own imagination. The statistics actually comes from our Ministry of Manpower. So the average working hours of Singaporean is actually 45. And the average paid overtime is only 3 hours. So you can get audience to do a very quick calculation. Oh, we can get our audience to get a very quick do a very quick calculation of how much additional overtime do you put aside every week. And some of my clients, they will be sharing with me that actually they do set aside longer hours, especially during COVID. Everybody starts to get really efficient, really excited about their work, that they were non-stop behind the computer, even late at work. And that got everybody really busy and efficient. Right. Then next, when we look at the median gross income evolution of our Singaporeans between 2008 to 2018, so that was the last 10 years. And again, this statistics is given by Ministry of Manpower. Not surprising to see the average increment of our income is actually between 3.95% per year. And that was exactly the kind of increment that I was getting as an employed role in the past in a global MNC. Then let's go into a little bit further into the details. So indeed, the median income growth of Singaporean range between 3.7% to 5%. But if we go deeper into the details, between 2008 to 2018, over a span of 10 years, the income growth was 4.4%. But what contributed to the 4.4% was that the earlier 5 years from 2008 to 2013, there was actually a 5% increase. And unfortunately, during the last 5 years from 2013 to 2018, it actually shows a downward trend from 5% to 3.7%. So that's really not such a good news. And this is during normal good economy. Not to mention last year when we were going through a pandemic, a lot of our clients were actually facing a 50% drop in their income, especially for the cabin crew, the pilots, and those who are in businesses. Quite a few of our clients actually suffered an income cut. Right. So then Tammy wanted me to teach her about calculating her financial independence, her financial goals. But what was really interesting is that she doesn't want to share with me too much of her goals at this moment. She's very shy to share that with everyone. So I decided to use mine as an example to share with everyone what was my goal like when I was a client with Unicorn. That was 11 years back. Yes, 11 years. So I started planning at the age of about 30. Back then, I just got married. I was planning for my dream home. And the dream home that I was looking at is a simple, humble four-room HDB unit, which cost me 400,000, factoring in all the mortgage interest as well as the renovation. And of course, next, I was planning for my children's tertiary education, and that will easily amount to 200,000. But if you're lucky, if you have kids like me who enjoy eating, who enjoy food, you may need to factor more into that. So if you look at their faces, and their size, you probably know that I'll probably need to work harder for my next 20 to 30 years. Next, of course, parents' retirement was also something that was very important to me. And if I look at setting aside 1,000 per month for them over a span of 20 years, that will lead to at least 200,000. Then to have a simple car to be chauffeuring my kids, my parents, that will cost me about 100,000, including petrol, renewal, COE, parking, etc. Then, of course, financial independence is critical. That will that I will need at least 1.2 million in order for me to retire comfortably with 4,000 per month of income. Now let's take a look with all these numbers that I put in place. How much do you think I'll need in total to fulfill my simple lifestyle?
A quick calculation, because my math is very good, 2.1.
2.1, brilliant. Indeed, is at least 2.1 million to fulfill our very simple lifestyle in Singapore. So does it mean that retirement is going to be a dream? It's not achievable? Not at all. Now let's take a look at some very simple calculation. And I'll strongly encourage our audience to do this calculation together with everyone. So back then when I started as a client of Unicorn, I started at the age of 30. My desired financial independence age was 65. I kind of enjoy my work. I enjoy working, and I could foresee myself working until the age of 65. So 65 minus 30, that will leave me with 35 years to be growing my savings. So just to recap, we need 2.1 million, and I have 35 years to achieve my 2.1 million. Anyone want to make a guess? Maybe you can get the audience to participate from here. How much do you think I'll need to save on a monthly basis?
It looks like, okay, off my mind, although I say my math is very good, but my math is actually not very good. Oh, someone over here said maybe 8K, maybe 1,000. I think it's way more. It can't be 1,000. No way. 1,000 you can reach that goal. Like it just doesn't make sense. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna do something like along the way of 8 and 1,000. Say maybe 4, 5, 4 or 5.
Oh, you must have take a peek at my slide earlier, right? Or
Yes.
otherwise, you are very good with your mental calculation. Great. So you take 2.1 million, divide by 35 years, divide by 12 months, and that comes out to be 5,000 per month. So in fact, at the age of 30, I'll need to start to save 5,000 a month. And by then, my monthly income was only at 5,000. So it
That's
means that I'll have to,
impossible. Like
yes,
who
it's a
can
mission.
save 5,000? That's no way you can save 5,000 if you're earning 5,000 unless you don't eat, you don't spend money at all. Then you don't travel, can't be right.
I think I'll die first before I can get to age 65 without having to spend a single cent unless I can get myself a sugar daddy, a rich husband, then probably that's possible. But how many of us in Singapore are really able to do that? Right. So then I realized that the monthly income that I'll need is at least 10,000. And there's no way that I can achieve my goals if I were to stay on in my MNC supposedly comfortable income. There was no way I was going to do that. Right. So then with that in mind, I know that I was earning 5,000 a month, and then in times 12 per annually, I have 60,000 per annum. With that, if my increment is going to be 5% per annum, it's going to take me at least 15 years to double my income from 5,000 to 10,000. So simple calculation, if at the age of 30, I have to wait for 15 years to double, so only by the time I turn 45, will I be able to start saving my 5,000 per month. And it means that another 35 years on, I can only reach my financial independence at the age of 80 years old. So that was something that I didn't want to. I don't think I want to work until the age of 80 before I can retire.
Exactly. And even if you want to work until 80, when you're like 60 plus 70, do you are you able to actually still to get the amount of pay? It's another question, right?
I doubt so. I doubt that they will still pay me 10,000 when I was at the age of 80, unless I'm going to be a
Yeah.
successful like CEO or CFO. But
But even
otherwise, no way.
your CEO at 70 years old, 80 years old, yeah, it's gonna be tough.
Yeah. So what does that mean? Does it mean that I have to not be able to retire, or what can I do? Let's
So what did
let's
you
take a
do?
look. Yes. So the question that I posed to myself was that, am I in control of my income? But then as an employee, I thought that it will be difficult because my income is very much determined by someone up there who will decide how much increment I'm going to get. And how it works in corporate is that there'll be like an increment budget. So this budget needs to be allocated to the different positions within the organization. So if I have to give Tammy more, it means that I have to give Xiaoqing less. That's how it works. So in that
Talking
sense,
about
I
that,
felt,
Xiaoqing,
yeah.
I actually really want to talk about that since you mentioned. I know it's not in our rehearsal. It is very true. I was just talking about this um, with somebody in the corporate environment who's deciding who to give the bonus to, who to give the increment to after the appraisal. So like big MNCs or even medium-sized one, they have this like very strange quota, which as a
Yes.
freelancer I don't really understand. So if I only have this amount I can give, when I give this person, the other person, even though he performed probably only 5% lesser, the person don't get the same increment, or like don't even get an increment, get a different grade, which is so unfair. But it's so such a common practice all around, like because you only have this amount of money the company can give. So it's really heng
Yes,
suay lor. In
it
that sense, even if
is.
I work very hard, if you don't meet that quota, I mean your boss think that this is the quota, and then I have to put you in that category. That's it lah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That was what it was like when I was in a corporate job. Or like during worst years, like when pandemic or crisis happened, basically there's no need to talk about any increment at all. I think I should be very happy if they decide to keep my job. So that was a very real. And the only way to increase my income, I thought, was to, well, of course there's a way to do it, but let's take a look at what my life was like when I was an employee. Yes, so that's the employee life cycle. I was basically stuck in that life cycle for at least 10 years, not able to really get out of it. So you look at the starting point. So in order to get a 10,000 per month income, first of all, of course, I need to find a job. I need to be really good at my resume and my interview skills. So yes, because of the good resume, I can get a job interview. If I did well in my interview, I'll be able to get a job. So brilliant. But if I don't, if I fail that job interview, I have to repeat that cycle of finding job, sending resume, going for interview again. So let's say I'm very lucky, I get my job. And then because of my hard work, I continue to work, continue to spend hours and hours at work. And that actually earned me a promotion at work. And with more after promotion, with more work come greater responsibility. So that's a little bit like the Spider-Man. With a greater responsibility comes greater power. So does the power really comes about? Not really, but the more that I work, the more that I feel tired at work. It's a energy sapping, it's a heavier responsibility. It's almost like signing your life away with the company. Thereafter, because of that vicious cycle of having more work, needing more pay, and then getting more tired, then I start to think about getting a job change. And when that job change comes about, it means that I have to step out to face new challenges. So with that cycle, the crossroad junction that I was in was, do I want to continue to find job to restart the entire cycle and just keep on repeating this life cycle until I reach 80? Or do I want to just take 1 year of my life to try out the path of an entrepreneur? And exactly that was what I did. I actually took this 1 year out, just wanting to relook into my career, try out the path of an entrepreneur. And indeed, I never looked back. And the life as an entrepreneur with Unicorn was the best decision that I ever made for myself. Yes. So in case you think that in case you think that I'm imagining that it's going to take me 15 years to double my income, this is the statistics again from MOM that indeed if you look at the age group between 40 to 44, unless you're a manager, that's when you can be expected to get an income of about 10,000. But otherwise, as a professional, that'll be between 7,500 or 4,000. So these are real numbers that we are talking about. And if you look under the managers and administration column, so the income tends to grow from age 25 all the way to 40, 45. And then if you notice, it starts to go the other way around at the age of 55 and beyond. And that is the same trend that we are seeing across all the different professions. How exciting is that? So if I can just do a graphical representation of this chart, it means that the employee income journey is going to be quite exciting in the early years when you see your income growing at a fast rate. And back then, I was indeed living in an illusion of richness, this illusion that my income will continue to climb and get higher in the years to come. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. By the time I reached 40, it was actually a downward trend. That was what I was seeing in the people around me, in the colleagues that I was witnessing in my ex company. So with that in mind, I
So
decided to
Tim,
take a very yes, come.
can I just ask how does it feel like? When did you realize that actually is gonna be a downtrend? When did you start realize to actually you need to look at the peers around you who have been around, and then when you realize that, how did it make you feel?
Ah, of course, it was. I was really comfortable. If not for that little restructuring that went on in the company, I think I'll still be living in my dream, living in that bubble that my income will continue to grow. So indeed, there was a restructuring going on, and I start to realize that the people inside the rooms, they are asked to go one at a time. And then I have this very close colleague who was a 50-year-old at that time. She was extremely unhappy with the restructuring, but she told me that she has no choice. She was an Australian living in Singapore, and she told me that she's already age 50 and she has no choice but to just stomach whatever that's happening and bite on and stay on in that job. So that kind of woke me up because I didn't want to be in that position of having no choice, having to live with whatever is going to come. And that was what woke me up from my little bubble.
I see. So that's how you started looking for other options.
I did, yes. And then what happened? How about entrepreneurship? So entrepreneurship may sound like a big word to many people. Some people find that, oh, you need a lot of courage in order to step out as an entrepreneur. And you need to have a, so indeed, a lot of my friends told me that, hey, Xiaoqing, I find that you are very brave. You actually forgo that comfortable 6-digit income, start from zero when your second girl was only like 1 year old. So a lot of them actually praised me saying that I'm very brave. But as a matter of fact, I felt that they have even more courage than I do. Knowing what's going to happen, knowing what's going to come, and yet continue to stay on in that comfortable job, thinking that things will just want to place on its own. So indeed, what happened to me as a when I joined Unicorn as a consultant, the blue line will represent it was exactly the same graph that we showed earlier as an employee with that upward growth in the initial years and thereafter declining. And the red one represent actually my own income growth. So indeed, I joined Unicorn around the age of 35, 36, where my comfortable income plunged all the way to zero. And then thereafter, within a short 1 year, 3 months, I actually got back my last income. And thereafter, the growth was really just exponential and not something that I could imagine. So of course now I'm not yet at 60, as you can see. So how come I can draw a graph? Is that real, or am I just coming up with some imagination numbers? So what I could draw until now is really at my current age, and you can roughly make a guess how much I'm earning. So then why am I so confident that at the age of 60 I can still be earning that big income, unlike if I stay on as an employee? So let me share this little insider news that could be that you may miss a bit. So yeah, miss a bit in your heart because it's going to be exciting. I'm going to share with you how we can actually earn that income in our career. So what is the meaning of that goal? Basically, our income comes from our ability to help our clients to achieve their financial independence. So let's say for the next 10 years, my clients, every client, each of them will be able to set aside at least 360,000 to be invested with me. What this means is that when they retire, they'll be getting about $1,200 as their income, which is barely enough for us to retire in Singapore, right? So over 20 years, let's say I continue to grow the pot of gold for my client to the extent that every single one of them are able to at least invest 1 million with us, which will enable them to achieve a recurring income of 3,000 per month, which again is a very simple, basic retirement income that majority of our Singaporeans will need. So assuming that I have 100 clients and I help these 100 clients to achieve their financial independence with 3,003 per month of recurring income, what does that mean to me? It means that in 10 years, I'll accumulate a asset under my management of 36 million, and in 20 that will give me 216,000 per month of business income. And in 20 years, if I am able to help 100 clients to achieve their recurring income of 3,003, that will give me an asset under management of 100 million. And that will actually bring me a recurring business income of 600,000 per year. So how does that sound to you now, Ted?
Sounds like you need to give me a treat.
You only want a treat? Are you sure you don't want to be part of this
I want to put
fun?
the goal too.
Yeah, I'm sure you want that pot of gold together with us, isn't it? Yeah,
Definitely.
right. And indeed, in our career as a unicorn consultant, there is a high chance that we could be paid more than a local CEO. So if you look at this article, it says that a medium-sized CEO, they will pay 1.25 million. Total pay of a small CEO, small company CEO is 599. So we round that up to 600,000. While the catalyst company CEO will be paid 375,000. But in fact, just by doing what we need to do, fulfilling clients' goals and objectives in Unicorn, we could have the chance to be paid more than a local CEO. Right.
Actually, sounds
So
quite
that
exciting
was,
because we started. Thank you, Xiaoqing. So I feel like, I mean, whatever you shared gave me this feeling of like, you told us how to actually calculate our own retirement funding, which I will do it later after that, not in front of everybody. Um, and then but not, after you did that, off my mind, I already know whether or not I can, which I don't think I can lah with the amount of money I'm earning right now. So the answer I throw back to everybody would be like, I'm pretty sure over here you have in your mind which stage of life you're at, how much you think you need to have on your side to retire. And if you are the one who says, okay, I think I have enough for my retirement fund, I'm on track, you know, whatever I'm earning can match whatever I can save, and I know I'll keep continue earn the same amount even when I get older, because that is a concern, like we mentioned just now. So if you think you're on track, congratulations. I think I'm very proud of you. I'm very happy for you. But I will believe majority of us are not you actually on track. Like the Seedly article mentioned, why most of us cannot retire early. Some of part of the reasons which Xiaoqing also did mention is like because our cost of living, the amount we earn and stuff like that. And now that we know that, what can we do about it? What Xiaoqing did was she decided to be, to her friends, the brave one, but actually she's taking a safer choice to get out of that cycle, to find an alternative, which I would like to throw this question back to all of our audience over here. Like, what, if you think you are not at this correct track, after calculating your retirement funding, do you think that perhaps what you're earning may not be able to get you there? Then perhaps you can consider another option, which this is the part I would love to get another speaker on board to continue the conversation with me. But I have some questions for Xiaoqing. Is it okay you stay with me for a little longer?
of course.
Yeah. So when you did this, when you mentioned your friends told you, right, hey, Xiaoqing, you're very brave to do this, right? To become an entrepreneur, because technically a lot of us by default are being told by the society, being told by our parents that, oh, 你就工作就读书, you go and study and then you just take a job and then just that's the safest way out. But as the society progresses, we know there's no such thing as job security. But after you find out like how the income will actually drop as you age, right? Like, how did you feel when people tell you that that you're very brave? How did you respond to that?
Well, to me, it was like if that is really something that I wanted, and then if I have this vision, yes, maybe we can ask Tam, what do you think is the difference between a vision and a television?
A vision and a television. A vision is what you aim, you see in the future. Television is the screen that my TV show is airing.
Yeah, since you're always on TV, right? So you're the best person for me to ask that. So to me, having a vision is being in action, but the television is just looking at it from afar, watching at things go by without any action in place. So when I look at this vision that I had, I didn't want to look at it just like I'm watching television, but I wanted that vision to really happen in reality, to become action. So indeed, when a lot of people say that I'm very brave, the truth is that I'm actually a very prudent, very conservative person. Friends who know me very well in Cantonese, they always say that I'm someone who is uh, tokol. That means it's more like I take very calculated, very measured risks, and I don't take risks unnecessary. Even today, even though I call myself an investment risk manager, I'm still very super prudent, and that's how I've been able to decently grow my wealth over the last many years. So if you ask me what was my response, it was like, I think it's even more brave and more courageous if I know that if I continue in that path of an employee, it's not going to get me anywhere. And yet I continue to stay on that path, thinking that things will just happen on its own. So if I may sum that up, I think that a vision without action is merely a dream. But if I have an action without vision, that is like just passing my time. Only with this vision coupled with the action can I be able to change my destiny.
Whoa, that's the power quote from Xiaoqing today. Let me repeat what you said, okay? So you said a vision without action is just a dream. Yep. And action without vision just passes time. And vision with action can change your destiny. Correct or not? Did I get it correct?
Yes, perfect. Wow, you are so brilliant with your listening. So what that really means is that if I have this goal of wanting to provide for retirement, my parents, my kids, and my own financial independence, if I have this vision and yet I don't want to take any action to make that happen, it's going to be just nearly a dream. Or if I keep doing my work and I keep on working hard as an employee, but not knowing what my goals are, where I want to be, to me, at the end of the day, it's just a passing time working as an employee. But only when I have this vision, knowing that my vision can't be achieved, and then taking active steps and action to change, to make it happen, was I able to change my destiny. So that was exactly what I could saw in my own life by taking this route of the entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Chelsea, for sharing. And it gets me thinking a lot, right? I mean, obviously, I'm also looking for uh, different things that I want to do in my life, considering my passion and stuff. But now that we always think that because we're comfortable right now, so we don't really think very much. It's only when sometimes crisis hits us or when certain issues are in our face. It's a lot like health. When you're like in pink health, you don't think very much until something really happens to you, or until you see friends around you facing certain issues, people close to you facing things. Like how in Korea we see people out of maybe say 10 years older. Is that what I'm gonna be in 10 years? Then you actually start thinking about it. But if friends over here who have heard us so far, and if you know that you're not on your right track, whatever job you're doing right now isn't something that gonna help you with your goals in future, certain things you want to achieve, like say retirement goals. What can we do next? Which is where I want to bring in my next speaker. But once again, just want to say thank you, Xiaoxing, for sharing so far. You've been great
Before that,
speaking with.
I need to have some commercial time.
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. So indeed, why are we doing this webinar again? The reason was very simple. Indeed, last year during the pandemic, we were more busier than before. A lot of clients were actually coming to us a lot, wanting to invest their money. They have a lot of close friends and relatives that they wanted us to take care of their finances. So the good news that came out of that was that my income actually grew 70% compared to the year before. So that was really unexpected when the world seems to be crashing, when there's a lot of negative news in the market. But for us internally, our business actually tripled. For me, my income actually grew 70%. That was something that I've never experienced in my uh, entire career life as an employee. Well, that's the good news and the good thing that come out of that. And what was the better news that come out of that was that we actually need more hands. We need more people to be helping to serve this group of people outside that needs our help and our service and our professional advice in managing their finances. And that's the reason why we are doing this webinar, to call out to like-minded people, whether you are clients, whether you're someone who believes strongly in financial independence, that you may need a career change at this point in time, do consider having a chat with any one of us. And of course, later on, I'm going to pass the time over to another of my business leader, William. So what I've shared was very much on our internal economy, about me in the past as an employee, and then now as an entrepreneur. But what William is going to share is very much on the external economy, something that we can't control. We can't control the external economy, but what we can control is, of course, our reaction and the actions that we are going to take full opportunity of the external economy. So with that, let us put the time or the focus back to our next speaker. Thank you so much, Tam. Always a pleasure to be speaking to you.
Thank you, Xiaojing. I think you're an awesome MC. Next time, you interview me lah.
That could be something that we can look at in the next session.
Next
It's
month.
always you interviewing us, right? I want to have this fun of interviewing you as well.
That would be quite fun. Okay, talking about that, it's time for me to invite the next speaker on. Before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about who he is. This is Mr. William Koh. He is a dedicated financial planner with a decade of experience in cash flow analysis, investment risk management, and personal portfolio customization. He is the top investment risk manager at Unicorn. That means the 420 million assets under advice by Unicorn, he oversees the highest portion. Somebody is quite good. Okay, actually very good. he paiseh already. Okay. So he focuses a lot on clients' interests. He delivers performance at enhancing clients' investment experience. Later, you can ask him what does enhancing clients' investment experience actually means. Okay, he is also still serving in the army. That's why you can see he look like the army kind of guy face. But you don't see his face like a bit serious. He's quite good at lame jokes. Okay, let's put my hands together for Mr. William Koh.
Hi, afternoon, Tammy. Afternoon, everybody. Thanks to Tammy's wonderful introduction of myself. Yes, I'm still serving. I got a lot of lame jokes. I mean, if you are free, can always approach me for your lame jokes. Okay, but today I'm not here to deliver lame jokes. Today I'm here to deliver a special report. Yeah. So let me please share my screen first before I proceed.
So while William is doing this, my question for William today, because just now we talked about retirement early, right? So question, William, you shared with me the Seedly article, which really caught my eye. My question is, why can't most of us retire early? Why? Why?
It's a brilliant question, Tammy. Maybe let me use the next a couple of minutes to actually share with you what are some of the key reasons that this Seedly article actually mentioned. So earlier on, I sent in the chat group this I'll say link to share about this article. In this article, it shows that why most Singaporeans won't be able to retire earlier. They have 5 main reasons. And earlier on, Xiaoqing actually covered this reason about the sandwich generation. What does it mean by that? Basically, we are being sandwiched between our parents as well as our children. And because of the numerous costs that we need to be supporting, both from our parents' retirement, as well as our children's needs, as well as my own personal needs, I just feel sandwiched. In a survey done by NTUC Income, more than 94% of current couples, they actually face the pressure of having to support their parents as well as their family. And being in a sandwich generation, no wonder you're earning income, not for my own generation, but as well as for our parents, as our children's generation. The other reason why this article mentioned that Singaporeans won't be able to retire earlier is because of this issue about job security. In today's terms, it's easily to get retrenched or because of the increased competition. So now who is actually coming in to insert this, I would say, competition? how many of y'all had actually visited this restaurant in East Coast, showing these robot waiters actually going through the rounds, serving the clients? And this article was done Albert, in 2016, which means 4 years ago, 5 years ago. This has already been ongoing. There's also news that UOB are now using computers to actually help them to cut data processing time by half. As well as the more recent, because of this pandemic, a lot of people's dreams are actually being cut short, or pilots are actually now having to become delivery drivers. I was actually very taken aback because all the while, between my friends, we always say that pilots have the best life. They have the stewardess to be their co-workers, as well as a very neat job. Just take the plane in the air, and that's about it. And then land the passengers safely. And for that, they earn a very, very good income. Most often than not, we term them as a very 铁饭碗. But now looking at it, now many of them are actually forced to take on a second job. Some even have to retire earlier because of what? Because of this increased automation. Now, increased automation and competition does not actually come from just overseas, but actually from robots. And these robots do not tire, Tammy. They do not ask for a pay rise, and they do not complain. If you are an employer with such an ideal, employee, who do you employ? We now live in a world with a greater insecurity than in the past, and we are more vulnerable towards retrenchment. I once met up with a lawyer. He was sharing with me, after doing his life work in conveyancing, he decided to call it a day. I say, why is that so? I mean, you are still in your early 50s, still very energetic, and conveyancing work. If for those who don't know what is conveyancing work, basically is to getting the due diligence and the checks done when someone buys a property. So I told him, actually, conveyancing work is something I would think quite easy to do, quite SOP. Why don't you, continue doing? Say you can't, because now with this pandemic, there's a wider adoption of technology into this conveyancing work, and very soon he will be out of job. I mean, I was taken aghast. I mean, a lawyer being put out of job, can't you go back to litigation? Say you can't, because after years of practicing conveyancing, litigation is no longer something that he is good at. He has to actually find something else to do, if not take an early retirement. As well as looking at these jobs, stewards and pilots. I have friends who are pilots now receiving more than a 70% pay cut. Their basic pay wasn't enough to actually help them to survive. And what they have to do is they have to take on a role as a Grab delivery driver, earning the extra income to help them pay for their home mortgage or their living expenses, as well as their children's education. So really, Tammy, is there such a thing called job security anymore?
I think it's a very thing of our parents' generation, because it's something that they grew up with. And honestly, in my generation, we kind of already know there's no such a thing as a job security. Like, although
Mm.
we wish there is, but it's quite clear. Even now, as an employee, they change a lot from full time to all contract anyway.
Yeah, fantastic, Tammy. In fact, you are not the only one to think so. There's two separate reports. The first one by a professor from Oxford University. He did mention in his report that actually 47 of all current jobs could be actually fully automated. And in a separate study done by McKinsey Global Institute, they actually reckon that as many as 800 million jobs could be actually gone, automated in the next 13 years from now till 2030. Can you imagine 800 million jobs? Just looking at the numbers alone is staggering. Can you imagine how this COVID currently is accelerating the wave of automation that is going around the world and in Singapore? Have you heard of this group of buses that is actually now traveling within Fusion Police without any bus drivers? Or how long, make a guess, how long will it take before all these buses, unmanned buses, make their way to our streets, to our neighborhood? I think the numbers will be very soon. So of course, the third message that this Sidley article actually tried to share was actually Singaporeans tending to spend beyond means. In fact, Singaporeans has always wanted to be the top in everything, including our living expenses. Consistently for the past couple of years, we have been ranking top 5 when it comes to living expenses. with higher prosperity, better income. People want to lead a high life, enjoy life much better. And it really doesn't help when our high income means that we will spend more on our living expenses, we will spend more on car, spend more on housing, which resulted in many of us having very low in terms of our savings. And in a SingStat survey that was done in 2017, 2018, it was actually concluded that over the years, our household expenditure actually continued to rise, with the last being at about 4,009 per household. So can you imagine, with the average age expectancy of Singaporeans to be around 83, and if I want to achieve my financial independence at age 50, basically, if I were to take a big count, I will probably need a capital fund of about 1.8 million in order for me to achieve financial independence at age 50. Don't you think that's a number that is very, very difficult for us to be achieving, looking at the current situation that we are facing? The fourth point that actually mentioned in this article was this thing about using property as a way to enable us to retire early. I think it is quite common player now. You see in the papers the HDB unit getting sold by over 1 million. Now more and more units are popping up, not just in Dawson, in Clementi, the most recent being sold at 1.04 million. And why is there such a big increase in the pricing for HDB? Is it really because that HDB nowadays are very, very valuable? I don't know, but I look at my friend's HDB unit, they are not getting more and more valuable, but instead they are getting smaller and smaller. Granted, over the years, I put on some weight. I guess the idea is really space has actually not really gone bigger, but prices that definitely inflated by quite a fair bit. But can you imagine that our prices of HDB can really double in the next couple of years to help us in our retirement? I hear so many times many I would say property agents go around telling my clients that they can actually retire with their housing. I told them, is that really so? Taken from the HDB website, you can see that our HDB resale price index over the last couple of years has actually remained quite flat. The only explosion that they really experienced was in the year 2007 to 2009, when global situation was bad. The US started printing tons and tons of money, which brought about huge asset inflation. Can you imagine now this going to happen in the next couple of years? And can you imagine our HDB unit really double in price? I've heard prices in Bidadari and Commonwealth, some of these areas, a 5-room BTO costing as much as 700,000. Do you really think that after 5 years MOP, they can be sold at 1.4 million, 1.5 million? I'm not sure, so sure. Would you want to bet your retirement in such, I would say, property bets? Of course, the last reason is they mentioned that a lot of Singaporeans, they don't invest. In fact, 1 out of 3 do not invest, and 48% of them do not have a passive income. But are we really so conservative? In fact, if we look at the statistics, there has been reports to actually show that Singaporeans always shown strong interest when it comes to financial planning. Planning for retirement, planning for investment, as well as cash flow and budgeting. However, despite all this, they remain very low when it comes to confidence in their own finances. Why is that so? A lot of them, although they have dreams of achieving their financial goals, but they're stuck with their own financial, I would say, strategies. Many have to leverage on their own to be actually finding out what's going on, helping themselves to actually take on the life challenge, as well as planning for their own finances. It is correct to say that we have one of the highest financial literacy levels in Southeast Asia, but it's also because of that that we used to, I would say, stuck in terms of planning for our finances. Why? Too many things going on for all of us, and there is actually a very high demand right now for good professional and financial planning advice and services right now. I mean, if you last of it, if you think that your wealth is worth living, our goals will be worth planning. or a life will be worth achieving. I always thought that actually, if you want to actually do well in financial planning, you need to start to look at your goals. If your goals are worth achieving, definitely you should plan for it. Like Xiaoqing mentioned, or having dreams without action, without taking action on it, it's just nothing but just dreaming. And we can continue to dreaming about it and not be able to achieve our goals.
Yes, I really agree with you, William, over here. Like, if your life is worth living, your goals are worth achieving, then your future is really worth planning for. And this, I'm not saying that if you don't really plan, you plan to fail, right? So,
Yep.
but I have a question, William. See whether you can help me answer, right? Because over here, obviously, and I agree, even before I read this article that you share, that I believe Singaporeans and all the people around me, my friends, regardless of age, we all are aware that we need to be wise with our money. I think it's a common understanding that most Singaporeans already know, right? But it seems like we are not doing it correctly. So where have we have been earning money? It's just where did the money go? Where have we been putting our money?
Tammy, the key to your the answer to your question is actually very important. You see, it's not about where we are putting our money, but who are we putting our money with. In fact, if you look at it in a separate report done up by the Financial Planning Association of Singapore, many people wanted to work with a financial professionals. 54% of them wanted to come up with a long-term plan, and 54% of Singaporeans wanted trusted source of advice. They want people to help them to simplify and to explain financial matters so that they can have a peace of mind. However, what is stopping them? Many people just find that things are too complicated. You can be trained in finances, but you day in, day out, we are looking at our company finances. You're not looking at our own finances. Somehow, it's also so complicated. Financial instruments just keep popping up. So if people find that it's really, really complicated, what about those that are not in the financial field? They are not trained in financial matters. That's even worse. Another reason is because of all this information out there. Yes, earlier on, we are right to say that there are plenty of information out there on Google. You just type out how to do financial planning, and the answer will just really pop up. But there's a simply onslaught of all this information. Which information is the right one? It's just too confusing for a layman to really make sense of all the information that is out there, as well as there's too much paperwork to be done, too much work in terms of monitoring and all that. I don't know about you, Tammy. I have 3 kids. I have work. I have clients to serve, as well as a personal life. I still want to meet up with my friends sometime to chill. Looking at all this in perspective, I cannot imagine if I am not a financial professional looking at my clients' finances as well as my day in, day out. I don't know how other people can do it in their own work when they are not doing it professionally. So if you ask me, it's just simply too much work, but too little time for us to be focusing on. Of course, the main reason that most people have hesitated to find advice is simply because they don't know who to trust. In fact, this is ranked highest among all factors. 74% of Singaporeans, 72% of Singaporeans actually don't know who to trust when it comes to getting financial information, financial advice. This is the same thing when it happened to me. So many years ago, this was what I found. I couldn't trust anyone. So in the end, I decided since I can't trust no one, I better join this industry, learn a skill set that I can benefit from it and help myself.
Thank you, William. You made a very good point. Yes, over here we can see 72% says they don't know who to trust. And I personally feel the same initially before I started actually being a client of Unicorn. For friends who don't know, I've been a client of Unicorn for as long as I can remember, 10 years. So, but I didn't initially immediately became a client. So what happened is my friend, my poly classmate, actually, I've known her since I was 17 years old. Okay, and then her very first job is in this industry. So I've been in touch with her for the longest time, but I haven't been her client until only about 8 years ago. She actually followed up with me. People is like follow up with the client a few months, right? She followed up with me for years. That's how long she took to make me become a client. But main reason is because I mean, I know that she means well and everything, and then she really has my like, she really thinks for me, she really cares for me. So, but that alone, I felt that I also needed like, also the part of being professional. I hope that she can stay in the industry long enough, because as we know, a lot of financial planner, they be only here 2 3 years, 3 5 years, then they gone already. Then my account will be left to somebody else, right? I don't want that, right? And of course, during that time, I wasn't earning decent enough, and I thought I would wait until I need to earn more, then I become so. But the main reason is still I don't know who to trust. So it took me a very long time to finally decide to become a client of Unicorn, because I realized it, Unicorn, the culture that we have, that I would say we have, because I feel I'm part of you now, although I'm still only a client. So I feel the culture that we have over here, and then like the genuine things, and then like the professionalism that I have here, it's something that I can trust. So when it comes to this, right, that's how I feel in the end, how I became a client of Unicorn in the end. But talking about that, what you're sharing, right? So it seems like all these things, these hurdles that we have in Singaporeans, all these hurdles that we have, we're being sandwiched. We don't have the property hike anymore and stuff like that. It seems like a crisis, but every crisis is an opportunity, right, William? So where is the opportunity over here? What do you think?
Oh, that's something that I always coin in all my previous webinar, that in every adversity, there always lie with it equal or greater opportunity. And that's right, Tammy, you're absolutely right. See, in Singapore, what we have is a highly educated population. We are very, I would say, conversant with financial matters. Financial literacy in Singapore is considered one of the highest in the entire Southeast Asia. Earlier on, I also shared there is actually a huge demand for financial planning advice. Advice on financial planning, advice on budgeting and cash flow, advice on investments. And everyone is looking for a trusted source of advice to help them to make things easy, to simplify things for them. So where is this opportunity? The opportunity is actually lying ahead in front of you. You are the opportunity. You see, years ago, I also asked myself, what can I do? I wanted information, but I couldn't get it. When I find the information, I don't know whether is it right or wrong. It's cool confusing for me because I'm not a financial professional. And when I want to ask someone to verify, all the more I find it more difficult because there's plenty of financial salespeople out there, which I don't know who to trust. So I need to listen to recommendation. So in the end, I realized that actually I asked myself, if I can be in this industry for long term, meaning I can be devoting my heart and soul to be researching, to be finding out how to invest, growing my wealth in a proper manner for myself. And if I can actually be honest to myself, if I need to save, if I can discipline myself, or giving myself that personal financial advice, and do I want to, really do what I preach? When I research that I need to save a certain amount every single month, and I need to be investing over a certain period of time, do I stick to the system? Do I eat my own cooking? Do I take the own recommendation? And am I someone who wants to constantly pursue this, I would say, personal excellence in financial arena? Day to day, every single day, we see new financial instruments being thrown in the arena. And if I'm not there to constantly upgrade myself, find things that is relevant within, I would say, the scope to help myself, then I won't be able to catch up. I won't be able to understand what will really help me, what will really, I would say, put me into financial disarray. And can I actually place my interest over and above all the distraction that is coming to me? And I realized that actually all these questions that I've been asking myself, if I can actually apply it to me, how about I learning that skill set and then using that and then applying to the friends around me? I look at my friends around me, they are like me. They need that person to give them the financial advice. Likewise, they are committed to their work. They are passionate about what they are doing. So they need someone to be helping them to do cash flow management, budgeting, to be a certain extent, even grow their money, invest for them. And I realized that actually, why don't I just pick up this skill set on my own, apply it into my own life, be able to actually add value to my life, as well as now use this skill set to add value to them. And because we have been friends so long, it is very easy for me to be helping them. They can see my growth, they can follow our advice, and to a certain extent, on the long term, if they want, they can actually join us. So actually, why, like earlier on, why Xiaoqing mentioned, or why is it that we have this series of webinar, is to constantly be in the lookout for people who shares the same values like us, values of being sincere, honest, hardworking, and being able to want to actually have the integrity to follow through with the lives, with the planning of our clients. And if you are someone who exhibit these four values, I feel that this is one of the very best place for us to be actually building a practice, building a career in Unicorn. All of us needed advice. So why don't you use that advice, pick up that skill set, apply to our own life, as well as the friends around us. And if you can do that, and you can do that consistently, or the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is always there. Xiaoqing has already shared how we can always arrive at that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So Tammy, likewise, automation is happening even in your arena, in your line of work. Now we see animated movies. The characters are getting more and more lifelike. I think very
Right.
soon.
We have
Ah,
like virtual Instagram stars right now.
yes.
It's like, oh my God.
And they want to
Anyway,
never grow old. Not only they don't complain, they don't grow old.
yes. So in that sense, okay. And
Hmm.
I think what you said is really, really right, William, because I mean, other than the fact that if it's something that you would want the skill sets, you also want to benefit your friends as well, right? So the opportunity here is you can become the missing link. Am I correct, William? This is what we wanted to say.
Yes, yes. So ask yourself, are you that missing link? If you are the missing link, we want you.
So talking about that, we have a
Hmm.
session that you can actually explore more when it comes to whether you want to consider joining the team or joining Unicorn. So we have this session called the R Breakfast. It's like a get together where you can chit chat and discuss more openly. So who are the people that possibly think would be useful, to join our breakfast? So if you want to explore more about your options in your career, you want to understand more about the role of a financial planner, what is actually required in a day-to-day basis, what kind of goals you have to achieve, whether it matches in line with your life, or like you want to experience the culture. Like I mentioned just now, the unicorn culture is something that really warms me. That's why I feel like I'm part of the family already. So you want to experience the culture, the warmth, which is very important because in the environment that you work with day-to-day basis, it's part of your life. It's just like choosing your spouse, right? It must be something that you can live with, something that you're comfortable, it's in line with in what your values as well. Come and experience this. Or perhaps you want to verify, sure, no, William say all this, sure, no, Xiao say all this. You want to verify, right? You can come over as well. Or you can just to get to know more friends, people with the same mindset, people with positive vibes and everything, or you want to learn from the veterans in the industry, or you just want to come and enjoy some great breakfast with some good people. And you can discover more about yourself and others as well. Because when you ask questions, when you get answers, or when people ask questions and get answers, you can listen as well. You can hear some of the other queries that other people have. Like I've been to the previous last our breakfast because I was actually considering also. Yes, I'm an actress, I'm a host, but I really, really like unicorns culture. And then I'm actually in the midst of becoming part of the family in a sense, but let's keep it a secret for now. So yeah, so in this session, I actually asked a lot of questions, whatever queries that I have, whatever concerns. And in these sessions where you can get actually more intimate answers, and you can get answers directly from William, from Wei, from Xiaoqing, their personal experience, or some other examples that your friends will be around that we can share with you as well. So if you want to join us for our breakfast, I totally encourage you to. If you want to fulfill any of these points that you see on the slide over here. And the next session that we have is just 2 weeks later. It's on the 20th of February, Saturday as well. And it's in the morning because it's a breakfast session, right? We're gonna feed you. Yes, don't worry, we will feed you with good food. I was fed quite well the other day. It's at 9:30 a.m. You can just scan on this QR code. Alternatively, you can text us. To this number, you text RBF, that means our breakfast, space your name, to this number 9670 So 9670 So our breakfast next segment will be on the 20th of February, Saturday at 9:30 a.m. It's at Geylang. It's our private club. So at Kampong, we call it Kampong. Right? And I love the setting of Kampong because I like nostalgia things, right? I like old stuff. So you have like the 70s settings, you have the 60s stuff, the 80s stuff. I love it. So it's a kampong, a very family kind of feel. So join us for the Our Breakfast. This is the session where actually it's not just a get together. You can ask more questions, but we have limited space. We only have 10 packs. So it's a first come, first serve basis. And remember to scan the QR code or you can text, SMS over to this number. We had 4 sessions before already, in October, November, December, January. So come and share your concerns, ask questions, make friends, and discover whether or not it's suitable to be a unicorn financial planner or to be part of the family, right? Do that with us. And not only we have the Our Breakfast, which I highly recommend you to join, but once again, it's a first comes, first serve basis, so faster register. And also, I will love to invite you for the next segment of the R Factor, which is a series of webinar. The next one we have is going to be on the 6th of March, Saturday at 3 p.m., which is exactly the same day, but 1 month later, 6th of March. Today is the 6th of February. So also Saturday at 3 p.m. So it will be with another topic. We have more speakers. And Xiaoqi was saying that maybe she's going to interview me next for the next section. Maybe we will have that. William is laughing. But before we wrap this up, can I ask some questions, William, since you're still here with me? Maybe you can share with me a little bit more about Our Breakfast, some of the concerns that people have previously, and or some of the takeaways you think that might benefit for our audience here to join us.
Okay. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share a bit more. Well, first of all, I have to say, Our Breakfast, okay, some of my friends, they are quite reluctant to come down. They feel that coming down means they have to, in a way, join the company, join us. I told them in Singapore today, there's no, Hei Dian. There's no place, I mean, although we are in Geylang, but people don't come down and then get locked up. You can always come down, enjoy the atmosphere, enjoy the breakfast, and then ask questions. I guess the main thing before you want to do a career switch is to be here to ask relevant questions. What are some of the relevant questions, especially things what is it that we do? You see, if you don't ask this, what you know is about what you see and what you have previously experienced from somebody else. It may not tells you the exact truth. Even previously as a client, I didn't really understand what exactly my consultant did for me or did to me. I only know that they will tell me the importance of saving, investing, but behind the scene, the training that they go through, etc., how they advise their client, that is not something that is apparent to me. So coming down to this Our Breakfast, it gives you the opportunity to ask that kind of question. Second, Tammy, you have also mentioned that we have the culture, the warmth of the people and all that. And I feel that this is only a thing when you can actually come down and then experience it for yourself. It's easy to mouth it and say over the air and then telling people that we are heartwarming people, we welcome guests, etc. But really for you to come down and then speak to us, I think that's when you can really see how the whole company culture is like. Many years ago, when I was still contemplating this as a career, that was also very important to me because I come from a very regimental environment. And in the army, everyone talks with a certain agenda. They would want to get something out of you or get you to do something. And that's why they speak to each other. When I come down to the company, I was very taken aback that everyone is so smiley, so really friendly. and without a real agenda. They just want you to make you feel at home. So coming down, you get to experience that whole feeling, that whole culture. I always share that if you close your eyes and you feel, you must be able to feel the warmth of the family, the warmth of the company. So coming down to ask the questions, the details, understand the training, the things that we do, see the people, feel the people. And I think our breakfast presents a wonderful opportunity for you to be doing that.
Thank you, William. I think you make this point that I can I elaborate more about that? Am I allowed to? Of course, William must say of course, like, because I'm the host, he got no choice. But I really, really feel, I mean, the warmth, you must feel it for yourself. And people say like you treat someone nice because you want something out of them, right? I totally feel that the friends over here that I have at Unicorn, it's really got no agenda one. Like the other day, I last weekend, we did a hosting for Unicorn. It's the investment fiesta with Kate Ray. And he realized that I felt really tired because these 2 weeks I've been very busy. You know what he did? He texted Xiao Qing and asked Xiao Qing to arrange like, a TCM session for me to, like just to check on my health again, because it's just really genuinely concerned. He is not even my financial planner. He's just like, I'm a host for his segment. Like, this kind of thing from the family. It's like, oh, so heartwarming. And I just mentioned Xiao Qing yesterday gave me a head and shoulder massage when we had a chit chat, which is like, this kind of thing is, it's really the culture. And I know people over here say, okay, you guys are really warm. You know what? But what if I'm not naturally that kind of person? What if I don't match the culture? Don't worry, I tell you, you go there your own self, you naturally become that kind of guy. Like I feel like. But then again, yes, culture
Tammy,
is very important.
on that point, Tammy, I actually wanted to share, because why? It is very easy for us to feel skeptical because I grew up in an environment whereby we learn to take care of ourselves, and then when a stranger do something nice to us, we have to be extra careful. This is what our parents have always told us. And at work, likewise, when colleagues are too nice, you don't know whether they want you to ask you to take over their work or things like that. So naturally, a lot of us are very skeptical. And in the military context where I was in the past, I was extremely skeptical. So when I came down, I really feel uneasy, like you mentioned. I feel weird that they are so open heart, they are so warm, and they're so friendly. But over time, I start to enjoy this because I realized that actually I like this kind of environment, and I'm that kind of person. It's just that previously in another organization, the environment does not allow me to exhibit that kind of warmth to the people around me. And when I came down to Unicorn, I felt that the environment is nurturing enough for me to show my true self to a certain extent, be vulnerable. So I can understand where you're coming from when you said that, sometimes you may feel a bit taken aback. Wow, a bit too nice of you. Yeah.
So let me just wrap it out this session. Okay, although our breakfast, I was talking about a lot of culture, about warmth, right? It's again once a session for you to explore whether you want to be part of a unicorn financial planning. But then again, we're not gonna force you to do anything, because I've been through the session myself. It is not a forceful session. It's really a very casual chit chat session to discover. So there's no obligations, but then there is a space limit over here. So do join us on the 20th of February, Saturday at 9:30 p.m. 9:30 a.m. Sorry, a.m. and explore for yourself whether, if your current job right now, it's gonna get you to the financial goals that you want, your retirement funding. Are you able to do that? If you are already able, you're on track. Congratulations. But if you're not, do consider, like Xiaoxing mentioned, you may be comfortable right now, but as you age, will you actually still earn the amount that you can garner right now, right? If you cannot, that might affect your plans as well. And it seems like a dangerous path if you know the ending isn't something that you want. It's time to perhaps consider something else. And if you want to consider another path, why not consider something where the environment like is something that's very comfortable for you, very real, and you can actually add value to the friends around you at the same time. So you achieve your own goals, you can help your friends, and every day this environment is such a positive and warm one. Why not explore that with Unicorn? And once again, I am not a consultant myself, but I actually can say that because I feel it. I'm a client exploring to join a family as well. Okay, so let me stop being really like long-winded about this. I would love to see you guys on the 20th. And of course, we have the next session of R Factor on the 6th of March. I will see you Saturday at 3 p.m. So once again, thank you so much, Xiaoting. Thank you so much, William. We'll love to see you guys, and thank you for joining us. And at the same time, remember to ask questions for anybody who invite you at the same time. Join us for the Art Breakfast. See you guys. Thank you, William. Thank you, Xiaoqing. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, everyone, for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Bye-bye.